I'm looking forward to talking to Seth. This is going to be a really interesting conversation, and I think one thing that is going to make it most interesting is the fact that this is it's about the judgment. It's about judging people. It's about the judgment that we deal with in society on a regular basis. And I think this conversation with Seth is going to show how ridiculous it is to stereotype people.
I'd say I've been really looking forward to this conversation since Scoot kind of told me he wanted to have it, because stereotypes, cliches, judgments is real, I think, in all types of different societies and subsects, and no matter what's your nationality, race, creed, sexual orientation, I think the judgment is real and the stereotypes are real. And in fact, I've gotten it from the opposite side sometimes, so I think this will be interesting.
Judging people has become a spectator sport in America. Here are two men. One of these guys is straight. The other is gay. Which one looks straight and which one looks gay to you? Let's have a conversation about that. I'm Scoot, and welcome to another episode of Scoot on the Air. We are back at Oceanic Grill. I mean, really wonderful, wonderful food here, great drinks. This is a fun place. It's in the French Quarter, 739 Conti. It's basically the corner of Bourbon and Conti, so it's just right in the heart of the French Quarter. I'm from here, and I can tell you the food here is delicious. And it's authentic New Orleans food. They're known for their crab cakes and char-grilled oysters. They do everything well. And if you get the char-grilled oysters, make sure you ask for some bread so you can soak it in the juice, because it's just delicious. On my radio show, I have conversations about the LGBTQ community. And some of the conversations are disturbing to me, because it's all about judgment. And so I want to welcome to our Scoot on the Air show, I want to welcome Seth Dunlap. Seth is a former athlete. Seth does a sports talk show on a radio station that reaches the entire Gulf South. I do a radio talk show. I was in music radio before that, do a little bit of television. So our backgrounds are, I guess in some ways, somewhat similar. I think before we get into it, first of all, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. No, this is, I'm looking forward to this, Scoot.
Let's show a picture of your living room. Okay, this is Seth's living room. And this is my living room. One of these living rooms is the living room of a gay guy. The other is the living room of a straight guy. Do people mistake you for being straight?
Yes, yeah, I have that happen all the time. It's interesting. I was just having a conversation with a LGBTQ friend of mine, and the opposite, I guess, stereotype and cliche I see a lot in my job, how I dress, how I act. The one thing that our community supposedly is supposed to pride itself in, and I think the vast majority of our community does, is being open, judging people by who they are, not being judgmental, and taking stereotypes into account and stuff like that. But it is interesting to me that, you know, when I walk down the streets, when I walk by gay bars, you know, usually there goes the straight guy. I never think any of it anymore, you know. So yeah. Nobody's going to pick me out of a lineup and say, you know, that guy's gay.
Well, that's what I love about this, because Seth is gay, and I'm straight. And I think this is a great opportunity to point out how ridiculous it is to stereotype and to judge. And I just, you know, I have so much fun with the idiots that are so quick to, you know, think they know what gay people look like.
It does happen. It's so funny that you say this, because it does happen. It does happen absolutely all the time. You're supposed to, and I think even inside the LGBTQ community, there's judgment of this. You're supposed to look a certain way, act a certain way, have a certain physique, wear certain clothes, go to certain places, and if you're truly just supposed to be able to be who you are and like what you like who you like, shouldn't be any of that, right? So
Right.
it's I would say now I want to be very clear. I don't necessarily ever feel persecuted or judged in a way that usually doesn't make me feel uncomfortable or anything like that. But it always is interesting that why are you going out like that? Why are you going to the club like that or something like that? Sometimes I get that once in a while. So it's
I
interesting.
mean, I bet I have more hair product at home than you do.
Well, now that one I might be able to rival you on actually, because if there's one way where I'm cliche about that, my medicine cabinet, my bathroom cabinet is pretty full of hair products. So we'd have to. That's the one area where I might have you on. But
I love this conversation because when I first met you, I just thought about how different we are, and people mistake me for being gay, they mistake you for being straight, and it just goes to show you how ridiculous and how unfair the judgment is.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. I don't think, right?
First of all,
it shouldn't matter.
I mean, I'm so rebellious on the air that my God, if I was gay, you'd know it. I mean, I wouldn't hide it. I would tell you, but I can't. For those of you who don't know, I was born this way. I was born straight. I can't help it.
Look at this.
Oh wow. Okay. Some gumbo and some raw oysters from Oceana Grill. Thank you very much. Josh is our waiter, doing a great job today. Before we get into this, though, tell me about the moment and how old you were when you realized you were gay.
Oh, that's a good question. It's something that I've answered a lot, thought about a lot. When did I know? I think that's when did I know I was gay. When I accept I was gay was two.
When did
two
you
different
know?
Things.
Well,
I think I knew probably in late grade school, so 5th, 6th, maybe middle school, 7th grade, when my friends started, kissing girls, wanted to kiss girls, thinking girls were pretty and that kind of stuff. And, I kind of dabbled in that, I guess. My first kiss was still a girl. And, I sent somebody a Valentine. I think it was 5th grade or 6th grade was my first girlfriend. You know how that happens back in grade school. But, I just, I kind of knew then that, well, wait a second, I kind of think, this friend is attractive, and why am I feeling this way? So I was a little bit confused. And I'm kind of in that, I'm late millennial, so I'm kind of in that area where, and I think the younger millennials still don't realize this, it was really hard to be out and accepted late 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s even. I think the transformation has been rapid and it's been great in the last decade or so, but it wasn't always like that. So it was something, even my family was very accepting. My whole family, if you're watching out there, I know you guys are all very accepting, and a lot of my friend group out there was, but I was always worried about what the repercussions would be. And there was a stigma there, there was a stigma.
Well, that's what we need to get rid of. I mean, that's what needs to change. I mean, that's why I'm having this conversation. That's why I look for opportunities to talk about this, because we need to change that, because it's not necessary. And when we come back, we're going to eat a little bit of this. But I have more questions for you. But I also want to talk about how absurd it is for conservatives to preach the government being involved in somebody's personal life. Because the only thing that makes you and I different is what we do in our bedrooms.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, it is right.
That's I mean, we eat food, we dress. The only thing that makes us different is what we do privately. So how in the world should the government have anything to say about that?
Well, that's the ultimate conservative or libertarian values, right? Is staying out of the private.
That's the irony
business.
of it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we come back. Anyway, enjoy your
them high. So come on, can we sing a little louder? My body's shaking and my feet are getting lighter. Yeah, give me that, rock and roll. Don't tease, I want it loud. Rock me.
How was your gumbo?
It was great. No, it was fantastic. As the tea, I needed the tea. Sometimes you're on the air for a while. It's a little refreshing for the vocal cords.
You think we're in the French Quarter of New Orleans, we're having dinner. You think that, hey, come on, we'd be drinking heavily, but no.
Yeah, maybe later. I might. I got a long
maybe
night
later.
maybe coming.
Yeah. Thanks. So, let's talk about what I find is the hypocrisy of the conservative movement. If conservative ideology is based on the government staying out of people's private lives, then what's the justification for getting the government involved in one of the most private aspects of our lives?
Yeah, how long have you had this conversation with people? I'm just curious, because I've had this conversation with people for 2 decades now. I mean, literally 2 decades. I can remember in the late 90s, before I even came out, I was having conversations with this, and I grew up in eastern Washington State, which is as red as New Orleans, as outside of New Orleans, Louisiana is. I mean, it's deep red, eastern Washington State. So most people I grew up with, my friend group, college friend group, high school friend group, and after that, people I worked for, people I worked with, a lot of the family members were that way as well. So yeah, it's a conversation that I've had for a long time that I just can't still can't kind of square. I do think, and I'm wondering, because I know you do the political side of the talk shows every week. If you feel that the conversation has shifted recently, I do feel from, I think, more and more conservatives, more and more people who vote Republican, that they agree with us now. They're like, okay, like we should stay out of this. You know, our principles and our values doesn't align with us getting involved with people's private lives in the bedroom, where they're going, who they're hanging out with, who they love. And I do think that shift is slowly happening.
I would agree with that. And we should point out that all conservatives and all Republicans are not the same. All progressives and all Democrats are not the same either. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the moment you told your parents.
Well, I didn't tell my parents. I had somebody tell it for me. So this is a long story that I'll try to make as quickly as possible. But in a nutshell, I was outed, which was certainly not ideal. It was after college, actually. I still wasn't even out after college. This was back to what we were talking about before when I said that it was tough. It was a lot tougher to come out and be an out gay man 15 years ago, early 2000s, which is when it happened for me, especially with the industry that I'm in. And I still struggle with this sometimes, Scoot. I'm not in the closet at all. I don't think that on your show you're talking about who you're hanging out with, what's happening in your bedroom. I certainly don't do that in mine. Nobody, for the most part, in my industry.
Wait a minute. I don't talk that much about what's going on in my bed. You said I don't?
No, I know. I'm saying you don't. Or do
no,
you?
I don't.
Okay, yeah, I'm saying you don't.
No,
I'm saying you don't, and I don't.
Keep that.
I'm saying you don't, and I don't.
One time,
I
don't. I don't. That's my private life. I'll let people know where I go, but one of the things that I do is, I don't mind going to gay bars. I find gay bars fun. And back in the 70s when disco was first starting, yes, I'm old enough to remember the beginning of disco, okay? The gay bars in the French Quarter of New Orleans were the best place to go dancing. They had the best disco music. And back then, we thought nothing. My wife and I and our friends, we would go dancing at the gay bars. Why is it that today, if you tell somebody you go to a gay bar, they go, you must be gay?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you go to a straight bar, you got to be straight. I mean, it's a little weird.
I mean, think about how many people could no longer, if that's the case, think about how many people could not go to the Virgin Islands.
Right, well, a lot of us. And I think most of the gay men out there probably couldn't either. That's for sure. But no, I just don't get it. And
okay, so tell me about your parents.
The outing story in a nutshell. I'll try not to use any names and to keep the people away from a little conflict here. But I was dating somebody for the first time, like the first real gay relationship with a man, and we were kind of living together, not really living together, but we were rooming together basically with somebody else. And long story short is, the other roommate of ours, their mother apparently didn't like that her daughter was living with a couple of gay guys, and she had a little too much one night, and about 3 a.m. called my parents up and told them, hey, your son's gay. So we were living about an hour away from my parents this time in a different little town in eastern Washington State. I get a knock on my door at 7 a.m. the next morning. My parents are all dressed up. They got this really somber look on their face, and they go, open the door. Oh, wow, my parents are here at 7 a.m. Seth, we got to talk to you. We're going to take you to breakfast. We got some things to discuss. Now, that case, right then, I still remember this so vividly. I'm thinking, somebody died. Something happened to my brother. They're getting a divorce. Something really bad's happening. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, or this could be maybe they've somehow found out I'm gay. And oddly, out of all those scenarios, I'm thinking, well, the best one would be if they found out that I was, dating a guy. So we had breakfast. Everything got set up, and then they just came out and said, hey, we found out that you're gay. And then they asked, remember this, I looked at them, didn't say anything, and then they asked, why didn't you tell us? Because you knew we would have been okay with this. My mom was a flight attendant. She had gay men, friends of hers, real close friends of hers, over a lot, and I was around them. And they made it very clear, looking back, that this would have been something they wouldn't judge me for. But I was still in that headspace where I was concerned that part of my family, whether it was my parents or somebody else, wouldn't be okay with this, would disown me. So it was a big concern back then. And let me say this is one of the reasons why, still to this day, when I have friends meet people, men or women, who are gay, LGBTQ, and aren't out, are still quote unquote in the closet, which I kind of hate that term, but aren't out, I don't make any judgments about that, because I remember very vividly that that was a very personal decision for me, and I had to do it at my own time, and I didn't get to do it at my own time, and that happens at different times for everybody.
Yeah.
So it was a very awkward and weird situation, but it happened. I'm very, very, very blessed in that my family was accepting. I haven't had any blowback from my immediate family, and they've been very supportive, and I know that isn't the same case for everybody, so almost every day I think about that and how lucky I am with that. So.
Yeah, that had to be a real comfort for you that they accepted you that way.
I remember the most emotional I got was with my younger brother. I remember I told my parents during that conversation we were having at breakfast, don't tell my brothers. I want to have a conversation with them. I'd like to tell them myself. And I remember we had this little RV set up at the side of my parents' house, and we were having some kind of end of the year graduation party, or I can't remember what it was, like chili cook-off. And I told my brother, hey, let's come into the RV and hang out. I got something to tell you. And I just kind of, told him I was gay, and he just gave me this huge hug.
Did they have any hint? Did your parents have any idea? Was there any hints?
I've asked my parents that before, and they said because I didn't date a lot of women, I sometimes would tell them I would. I wouldn't straight out lie. It would be like a girl that I was hanging out with. Maybe I would go out on a date with her. Still tried to date in college a little bit, which is weird. I kind of knew I was gay at that point, but still was like, oh man, maybe it's just a phase or something like that, which is just silly to think about now. They said maybe because I didn't date a lot of women, they had some hints. My brother said, if I'm putting words in his mouth, I'm sorry, but I believe he told me that they didn't know. So.
Well, I mean, how tall are you?
6'7".
6'7",
Yeah.
okay. And you dress the way you dress, and I mean, I would think people would be surprised and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're gay."
Yeah, that happens all the time. The most awkward part for me is when I'm at a bar, and I'm wondering, you might get the opposite of this, just because it shouldn't be this way, Scoot. But the way you dress, the way we were talking about the hair before, whatever. But when I'm at a straight bar, the most uncomfortable part for me, and I swear this is true, when I start getting hit on by women. Because do I just act rude and kind of brush them off? Do I come out and say I'm gay, and then that just looks even weirder? Like, why are you telling me this? I just want to have some conversation, So it's still the most awkward part is because, to use the term, which you said, but I kind of dress more conservatively, I suppose, more straight, if that's the thing. And I work in sports, watch sports, love sports. That those conversations come up a lot, and it's definitely the most awkward part.
Well, see, but what you don't realize what you're doing here is that if you tell a girl you're not interested, that makes her more interested.
Yeah, well, no. Usually, most of the time when I tell them that, then they're like, oh man, I don't have to worry about this guy hitting on me, or
Well, that's why women love going to gay bars, because they like to go into a fun environment where they don't feel like they're being hit on.
Yeah, and let me say this, I'm going to look in the camera and say this: any gay guy who is mad that women are in the gay bars, stop with that. Come on. I mean, I've seen that a lot here. Like, why are these women in the bar and stuff like that?
All right, so we've got, one of my favorites here at Oceana Grill is the Greek salad with blackened shrimp. So yeah, I'm having that again. And you ordered the Greek salad with tuna.
I did, and we didn't plan this, just so everybody knows. You asked me what I would like to eat,
Yeah.
and I said, I just want the Greek salad. And you said, oh, it's amazing. So apparently I ordered
So
right.
see, we do, straight, we do have some things in common. Shrimp, tuna, that's the only difference.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Hearts race when it's curtain time. Hands up, let's hold them high. So come on, can we sing a little louder? My body's shaking and my feet are getting lighter. Yeah, give me that.
Okay, so you just told me that somebody at the radio station we both work at, somebody at the radio station who I know and you know, he tried to fix you up with a date, but he didn't try to fix me up with a date?
Yeah, no,
What was that all about?
I don't know, you gotta go ask him, man. It was, we became best friends after that, though.
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting conversation when I look back on fondly.
And so he wanted you to call this girl, and you finally told
multiple
her
times,
you were
multiple
gay.
times, and I'm not in the closet, I'm out, and I figured he knew. So the first time that he said, something. I said, okay, maybe he's just having a little go with me here. The next show he came back and he asked me the same, how'd it go? Have you called her? And I was like, well, no, I'm gay. Okay. And he stood up and kind of gave me a big hug and across the room, and so it was.
I just think it's interesting that he tried to fix you up with the girl, but not me.
Yeah, well, you got to go ask him.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm fine. When you meet somebody new in your life, I'm assuming it's the same as when straight people meet somebody in their lives. I mean, you kind of see somebody, you think they're attractive, and you ask them out, or you wonder how, I mean, do you wonder, well, I wonder if that guy thinks I'm attractive? I mean, do you go through that process?
Yeah, of course.
So you guys are just like real people.
No, of course, yeah. And you know, for me, I'm picky too. Like I really am picky. I know we're in this, and I'm not banging on anybody who does the hookup culture and the apps and everything, and that's straight and gay, by the way. Anybody who thinks that's just a gay thing right now, you haven't been paying attention. Check out your app store. But I'm so picky that I can't get into the whole hookup culture, right? And I think maybe it's just because of my work schedule and the professional life too. So I'm very picky. So it's very hard for me not only to find somebody that I think is attractive enough to want to date and stuff, but the second part of that is getting them to understand I'm gay, which is what we talked about before, because visually aware probably clocks me for straight, right? And then third, making sure they like me back. So it's a very interesting process.
So have you found somebody attractive, a male attractive, and you wanted to maybe go out with them, but you didn't know if they were gay?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, did you ever approach anybody that wasn't gay?
No, I think I'm very, protective of not doing that, because I don't want to be the gay guy that encroaches. And maybe it shouldn't be like this. Maybe when we're past that in 2018. But I don't want to be the gay guy that, you know, if I'm out at a bar, straight bar, wherever it is, or on the beach, or at a restaurant, in the grocery store, approach somebody and just have it be like, dude, I'm straight. Like, you know, get away from me.
And you know why that might be? You might have that feeling because because one of the things that anti-gay people use is that, oh, you're just trying to recruit people. They're trying to bring them in. They're trying to recruit them. And so if you went up to like a straight guy, you know, it might feel like you're trying to recruit them.
Okay, that's a myth. I think that's a myth and a stereotype that's been, I guess, spread, because most gay people will tell you, we don't want everybody to be gay because we wouldn't flourish as a society and a human race if everybody's gay. There's very obviously specific stuff that has to happen for the human race to procreate. So I'm okay with not everybody being gay, and I think most gay people are very okay with not everybody being gay. So I hear that a lot, and it always makes me laugh. Like, no, I'm okay.
Now, do you ever judge people when if you see somebody? You know, it's really interesting that, you know, really meticulously dressed people quite often are gay. Mm-hmm. Do you ever think that somebody, because they're meticulously dressed or certain characteristics, that they might be gay?
No, I don't. I think it's just because my perspective on it, my own, because I can be meticulously dressed. You see me at work, and I cannot as well. So no, I don't have any judgment like that. And I always wonder if that is just the fashion world, the photography world. A lot of it has been very accepting, I think, of gay culture, of gay people, LGBTQ people. So maybe that's why you see so many LGBTQ people in those industries. So maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's why we're so fashionable. I don't know. I didn't get the fashion gene. I also didn't get the decorating gene. So if anybody wants to decorate my place, please. And you saw the picture of my
and you know what?
living room before.
And I like to decorate.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I got made fun of at the radio station because somebody said, well, look at this new end piece that I got. They go, it's a cabinet. I go, no, it's an end piece.
An end piece? Yeah, that makes it sound a lot more proper and a lot more proper than it probably should be.
All right, so what do you do when people bring this up?
That's a very, very interesting comment. How long you got here? How long we got till next week on this? When people bring this up as far as sexuality is concerned, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy with that. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy with that. If you're taking select verses out of the Bible or whatever holy book that you read, and trying to use that as some kind of anti-gay propaganda. Because if you're going to take those select verses out of there, then you've got to take all the other verses out of the Bible and adhere to that as well. It's just, it's silly. And I think that is people, and here's the good thing, and maybe I've surrounded myself with the right people, Scoot. In my personal life, my friends, people I've been around, work, I've never had anybody throw that in my face. I shouldn't say anybody, but rarely have had anybody throw that in my face. I think it's the social media society where we can be distant, we can be anonymous behind screens and start quoting Bible verses and ostracizing people in whole communities. I just think it's absolutely silly. I think it's absolutely silly. And you know what? Here's what I will say. Most of my good friends, especially being down in the South, they're Catholic, they're Christian, they're very religious. If you want to proselytize, if you want to bring people into your religion, this isn't doing it. It's not doing it. You're going to turn a lot of people off. And I know you've talked about it, listened to your show a lot. I know you talk about on your show sometimes the decline in people who consider themselves religious, the decline of people who consider themselves Christian or Catholic. One of the reasons why is a lot of the young people see all the ostracizing, everybody demonizing certain communities, and that turns a lot of young people off. So if you're trying to bring people into your religion, make them feel accepted, that certainly is good.
I remember when Bill O'Reilly was on Fox News, and he was talking about how rap music is turning people off to Christianity. And man, I got on the air the next day and go, no, a lot of Christians are turning people off to Christianity.
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, it's really hard to believe that Bill O'Reilly actually listens to hip hop or rap or pop music. I'd love to see that. But if you listen to hip hop, rap, R&B, most of those artists are deeply religious, which is very interesting. You wouldn't think that. I understand if you don't like the language, you don't like the messages sometimes behind the music, but you know this, most of those artists, they're wearing crosses, they're very overt in their religious ideals, so that's also a little absurd.
I mean, look, this is a great book. The only sad thing is the good guy dies in the middle. But, it's a good book and it's filled with a lot of good stuff. However, there's a lot of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
If you want to use Leviticus, there's other stuff in Leviticus. If you're going to take this literally, then you have to take everything else literally.
My grandfather was a Southern Baptist minister. My whole dad's side of my family was around that. So I was raised Christian. My mom's side of my family is Jewish. So I was raised on the opposite sides of those spectrums there. So I was very religious when I was younger. I would probably consider, I'm definitely not atheist. What I would consider myself is more agnostic, because, and I think a lot of LGBTQ people who feel like they are spiritual, they believe in a higher power, they believe there's more to us than just carbon bones, us here. We feel a little turned off by organized religion because of how we've been treated by organized religion. So that's where I stand on my personal views. Not atheist, I'm a little agnostic. I believe there's something very spiritual, but organized religion has turned me off a little bit.
As a gay guy, are you visually stimulated by pictures?
Yes.
Okay, would you want to pick out a dessert?
As you as a guy
who's
stimulated by pictures. Oh, this is at the creme brulee. Looks really good. Yeah. Creme brulee, right there. That got me.
All right. See if I can bring us a
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. I just find this interesting because you look one part. I don't think I look gay, but for some reason, some people think I look gay. I have always been comfortable in gay bars, and I really had to ask myself why. And I think it's two reasons. One, there are people in straight bars, because of the way I dress sometimes, that look at me like I'm an alien. Well, I don't get that in a gay bar. And people don't hit on me in a gay bar. It's like, every once in a while somebody might come talk to me, but it's, but don't you think that it's the look in your eye, it's the body language? I think people know I'm not gay.
Well, gays are just cold, Scoot. We're cold. We're a cold bunch. No, no, I don't know if it's just, I don't want to ostracize my own community here, but, or talk down about my own community, but I think that's just the way it is in bars now, because we're so used to being on apps and we can swipe right and swipe left and decide who we like and get super match and all that kind of stuff.
I'm okay with that, but I'm very at home there. In any city that I've lived in, I've always sought out the gay bar. My parents took us downtown when we were kids. I grew up seeing drag queens. None of this was, a shock or a surprise to me. We saw men holding hands. We saw people walking down the street. The other reason is because I grew up with a very severe case of obsessive compulsive disorder. And because of that, I always felt like nobody really knew who I was. That people looked at me and they did not have any idea who I was inside, because I couldn't explain it when I was growing up. They didn't know anything about that. My parents took me to a psychiatrist twice. Psychiatrist said, can't find anything wrong with him. Well, that made me think I was even crazier. So it wasn't until, it wasn't until the mid-90s that I realized that what I had a name. So all of my life, Seth, I always felt like nobody really understood me. And I kind of related to the idea that if you're gay and you keep it a secret, nobody really understands you.
Yeah, I still sometimes feel that not everybody understands me. Like I just told you, I'm not in the closet. I don't want to go back in the closet. Some people in my industry have suggested, hey Seth, things would be easier for you in the sports broadcasting industry if you were completely in the closet. I don't want to go back there. And I still feel that sometimes people don't know who I am really. And it does bother me still a little bit sometimes.
But let's go back to that for just a moment. You're not willing to give up being openly who you are to even advance in your industry.
No, I'm not. And if you look out there, there's probably two or three people in the country who progress farther than me, who are out gay men. There are a lot of LGBTQ people in the entertainment industry who are obviously have advanced farther. I don't want to run through all those names, we know who they are. But the sports industry in general, not just sports media, whether it's inside a locker room, whether it's a team, whether it's broadcaster, it's still a very protective industry, protective society that there's still a glass ceiling there. Then I don't want to make it sound like I'm the one trying to break it down, but there's a few of us trying to break that down slowly and surely. And not just heck no, hell no, Scoot. Hell no, I'm not willing to go back in the closet.
Well, I would do whatever I can to help you. Have you ever been surprised when a celebrity has come out of the closet? I mean, have you ever gone, oh my God, I had no idea they were gay?
Let's see here. Probably. I can't. You know what? Not anymore. I would say, I think earlier in my life I probably was. I would say not anymore. I don't want to say it's in vogue, because that's certainly not the way I want to describe it. That sounds a little dismissive, but I think it's a lot more accepted now, especially when you have the fame, you have the powers, you have the followers, that you feel kind of empowered now in our society, which I think is a great thing, by the way. And I kind of think that most people are on the spectrum somewhere. When you hear that word, the spectrum, I think there's, if it's a scale of 0 to 10, 0 is your straight LGBTQ, I guess it'd be LGB. On the other side, 10's the straight. Some people are on the spectrum. Some people are 10, some people are 0, a lot of people are in the middle. So it doesn't surprise me anymore that who was the line? Wasn't it Nick Jonas or somebody said that he had a gay relationship?
Well, I was thinking about somebody like
Will Smith's son. Will Smith's son was the last one. Just this last week, was saying and kind of being coy that he was in a relationship with some other guy, and everybody was making a big deal about it. And I'm thinking, really? This kid, I think he's 18 years old, growing up in this world where it's really you're surprised about that? Come on.
I was just thinking like an Anderson Cooper. I mean, you go, oh my God, I didn't know he was gay. I mean, there's no clue. But there's no clue that you were gay.
Yeah, maybe Don Lemon was more than Anderson Cooper. I think Don Lemon's the one that surprised me.
Don Lemon, yeah.
Yeah, Don Lemon's the one that surprised me. And especially being a person of color in that spot, which is very hard to be a person of color in the news, on TV, and then be gay on top of it. I thought it was a very powerful move. Whatever you think about Don Lemon, don't want to get into the politics side or anything about it. That was a very powerful move for him, and one that I admired a lot.
Sitting here with you makes me think about that scene in Seinfeld where Jerry's he's at a bistro cafe, and he's sitting down with a guy who is with some traveling Broadway show or something, and some guy comes up and hits on him, and Jerry is upset because it's like, well, how do you know we're not a couple?
Right.
I mean,
exactly. Yeah. Well, is that what people were thinking here when they walked by Oceana? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't really care. I mean, I've gotten well beyond the point of even caring.
You learn not to care. Yeah. Right? You'll just learn eventually not to care what other people think.
All right. Let's say goodbye.
All right.
And dig into this. Seth, I enjoyed our conversation, and hopefully this helps somebody be who they are supposed to be, because I think the greatest gift in life is for us to be who we're supposed to be. And we know deep inside who that person is, but not everybody is courageous enough to be that person.
Yeah, but I hope it does reach somebody, and I hope in 2018, almost 2019 now, that we've evolved past the point where you can't be who you are.
Thanks for being here.
So thanks for having me.
All right.
Enjoyed it.
So you're leaving here and you're going to go out, you've got a date to go to a movie.
No, I tell you, I'm leaving here. This might give away when we're taping this, but I'm leaving here. I'm going to go watch Monday Night Football, actually. So there you go. Cliche
okay.
again. Yeah. And then movie right after, and well, if I have time to watch a little Monday Night Football.
So
before that.
so do you have like the collection of Bette Midler and Cher and
No, so if there's one cliche about me, it'd be music. We talk about this sometime. I'm a Gaga fanatic. I'm gonna go see her new tour Enigma in Vegas. Everybody knows that. You see my social media. I'm absolutely fanatic. Pop music, that kind of stuff. No Bette Midler though. No Babs. Little Cher, maybe. Little Cher,
yeah.
little Cher, stuff like that. But and Monday Night Football, then a movie. So hopefully we can squeeze both those things in tonight.
Can you hear the sound? I said, can you hear the sound?
I love the conversation I had with Seth Dunlap. You know, I mean, here's a guy that doesn't fit the stereotype of being gay. He's gay. I think it's good to talk about breaking stereotypes because we're all so quick, just as a society. Maybe not you and me, but we're all so quick to judge each other. And I hope the conversation was enlightening. And I guess what I really hope comes from the conversation is the idea that, you know, you shouldn't be so quick to judge somebody just because of the way they look.
Well, a fantastic conversation. I was actually looking forward to this one for a few weeks. The Scoop told me we were going to kind of have this conversation. I thought it was very enlightening. And like we said towards the end of it, I really hope that if anything comes of this, some more people feel empowered to be who they are.